You're listening to the Impact Implosion on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
The beer, the alcohol to my eyes, Mr. Mike Poland.
Hello, folks.
My eyes needed freaking help.
Before we get to Impact, let's get to what was actually a slightly better show, which was the One Night Only Live that I watched last weekend.
Yeah, a one-night-only show that they barely hyped up. And the main event was booked online at the last day.
Very WCW of them.
Yes.
In any event, our first match was Bobby Lashley and Davey Richards, of course, to play off last week's Impact ended. And this was a really good match, and it also kind of plays up to what we'll see in the coming weeks of the tapings with Davey and Eddie. Because Lashley got the win via submission after they kind of traded holds for a little bit, and then Lashley ended up getting the weird arm bar on the mat on, or whatever it's called, the Kimura. And Lashley,
what match was this again? Franklin versus Davey?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, yeah, this was supposedly the best match of the show. Some marks said it was match of the year, but... No.
You're only in January, give it some
time. And by the way,
folks.
New Japan already took that, their main event.
Yeah. And we go to the lady that does the interviews. What's her name? Mackenzie?
Mackenzie, yeah.
And she's with DJZ, who says, it's a new year, but for some reason I don't have new opponents yet. And
maybe because they don't hire new X Division people.
Well, we'll see some new people coming up here in the weeks to come. But
sort of.
Sort of, yeah. Or just people they paid to sit around for 6 months while Dixie was still there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we have X Division title with DJZ and Sutter and the Helms Dynasty. And
yes, Rockstar Spud was originally advertised for this match, but says he quit. We gotta...
Oh, we'll get to Spud in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much that played into the next week's show.
Yes, but this was a pretty fun match, too. They teased friction within the Helms Dynasty towards the end, because I believe it was Everett who actually ended up getting eliminated first, because they tried to do a toss-off spot, and Zima turned it into a victory roll. It ended up being DJZ and Trevor Lee at the end, and as Trevor Lee does, except what we'll get to in coming weeks. Yeah, DJZ takes the win with the rolling DDT and retains the title.
ZDT, as he likes to call it.
Our next match is Robbie E with random new music because they're trying to reboot both him and Jesse, but we'll get to Jesse in a little bit. And
really? I don't. Oh, he was in this show too?
Well, yeah. We'll get to Jesse in a bit, but
okay.
Robbie E comes out and he challenges a member of the DCC, which is Bram, because
Robbie E is an idiot.
Well, Bram actually came out alone for this match.
Oh, he is so lucky.
Unfortunately, his luck wasn't that much better, even though Bram was alone, because, I mean, Robbie got the, it's a fine match for the spot that they put it in. But Bram gets the win with a low blow and the, the DDT. That's the brighter side of suffering.
So Bram needed a low blow to beat Robbie E.
A low blow and an out of position rep. Next up, we have, what was it next? I don't remember what was next. Card. Was it Moose and Bennett that was next this early? I think it's early for that match. But we have a no-holds-barred match with Moose and Mike Bennett, which was probably the best match on the show. Yeah. And, they did a lot of brawling, and the end is Maria trying to get involved, and Bennett ends up spearing her, and then Moose hits the clothesline move that he does.
No, you are correct. Moose and Bennett are next. They did some interview, first of all. I'm reading the results here.
Yeah. Yep. And Moose got the win, and they'll meet again in a couple months at another one night only that was taped.
Of course.
Yep. Because, it's TNA, everybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of TNA, everybody, our next match, Marche Rocket against Shera.
Mahabali Sheila! No
Ugh.
else know with him, apparently. And also Eli Drake revealed his mystery partner backstage. The Fixer.
Tyrus. Ugh.
Yeah. But, well, they're finally eventually going to that India tour. They've got that set up.
Yep. And basically the match here was a filler. It was something to get guys on the show. They kept putting over how Shearer is being trained by Al Snow, which not something I'd be admitting, but, you know.
Yeah, Marche Rockin supposedly had most control for most of the match. Basically, it was carrying his ass.
And Shearer won.
Yeah.
Not much more needs to be said. Our next match is...
Well, before that, Gail said some shit.
Said,
I'm not medically cleared, but I will be back to regain my title.
and here comes Rosemary to set up that angle and make this next match meaningless.
Yeah.
Because he's just set up the...
Rosemary's got to defend the title.
against Sienna, and this was an okay match. It's just that they shot the angle with her and Gail beforehand.
Typical TNA.
Yep, because you have them brawl, and then which is of course going to be the feud whenever Gail does come back, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosemary then goes over Sienna with the Red Wedding, which is the F5. After a very convoluted miss spot where it took them took them too long to set it up. Sienna kept going over, and the referee's like, "Get out of the way!" You think the referee she'd be like, "Wait a minute, she's doing something down there."
Yeah.
She's doing something down there.
Mm-hmm.
Next match is it's not the Hardys because there was something.
No, Storm and Godders.
Yeah, they're trying to do another breakup for the bromance, which will last about 6 months until they realize they can't really do anything with them.
Well, at least this time they're putting Jesse as a face. At least that was one of the biggest problems. Jesse has potential. Robbie has none, but Jesse has.
Robbie's a job guy. Jesse could be something if they actually did something with him. And this is actually a decent match. There was too much interference here, though, because you had Bram and Kingston, and every time Garters would get an advantage, Storm or Bram and Kingston would interfere, and for some reason the referee would either not disqualify him or
take them to get in the back, you two.
They did it every spot that Garters had control, and he got the crab. But Garters, the crab on like twice, and each time one of them interferes, and leading the Storm.
At this point, you kick him out.
Like, wait a minute. These guys have interfered every time Jesse's tried to get the advantage.
Yeah.
What is this? Is this ref out to lunch? Is he sleeping? Did he take a nap?
The ref didn't give a shit. Okay, whatever.
They're not paying me enough to do this job.
Yeah, they're not paying me to enforce the rules.
Which probably is TNA. It probably wouldn't surprise me if they weren't paying him.
Well, it's Anthem now. They should be.
You never know. Storm gets the win with the super kick. And we move to the Hardys match.
Well, Decay came out first afterwards, and
to set up that feud.
Yeah, beat up Bram and Storm, and then
who are the faces here?
Decay's the faces, obviously.
Yes, because they're the ones who beat up Bram and stuffed him in the car 6 months ago.
Yes.
Nice callback there, Bram.
I know. From this week. We'll get to that.
And then we have the Hardys versus this Hardys match is perfectly fine if Drake had a different partner.
Yeah, it's Tyrus.
Because Tyrus can't do much. He just lumbers.
Oh yeah, apparently Drake called them the Legion of Dummies. Seriously.
Broken Mac.
We'll get to that the problem with this later on.
And they also, because they've been doing this with the one night onlys that I've seen, is they've been having Tyrus stare down Pope for absolutely no reason. Because for absolutely no reason, he's just going to stare down Pope for no reason because we're not going to get a match between them. I'm not even sure what Pope did. And Hardys win because Drake took the Swanton and 2 twists of fate. And then we have EC3 and Eddie, which is a good match, but
they clusterfucked it.
Right, they did they had Lashley at ringside, which I did like because that sets up your What's going to
He
happen?
handed him the chair to Franklin. Franklin handed the chair to EC3. EC3 didn't want to do it. Flipped Franklin off, which means he gets a spear.
Which is a smart move, by the way, EC3.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, smart move. Franklin went to hit EC3 with the chair. Davey comes in, tries to hit Franklin with the chair, accidentally hits EC3, and Eddie, being the face here, hits the Boston Knee Party to get the win.
And it's kind of confusing. Of course, it's planting seeds for Davey's turn, which we'll see in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
This is it's a better one night only than normal, but it's probably about a B- to C+ show.
Yeah, probably because it actually means something this time.
Yeah. And on to Impact, unless we have any news.
We have a bit of news. Let me look again, because I think I...
Oh, and the next one night only will be Joker's Wild on February 10th.
Yeah, although the one time they teased something for February, like some live pay-per-view for February, but I don't know if that's happening.
No, I don't think so. They're doing Joker's Wild, which was taped on Saturday.
Yeah. Basically, well, Josh Barnett showed up, and Gail Kim finally underwent back surgery.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
We don't wish Gail Kim a speedy recovery.
TNA starting to run house shows again. They're planning,
all right.
And then the summer, and they're going to do the India tour in the summer.
Cool.
That's according to rumor. That's according to 411 Mania.
Larry Zonka reporting.
Yeah. Okay.
And on to Impact.
On to Impact, this show again gets first we get to replay Eddie retaining the title last week, and then we get to see the debut of the new crappy logo. With the owl, with the wings, as if you didn't need enough to realize that, yes, Anthem owns this company now. And then Impact starts with a backstage promo from the Broken Hardys for, I forget what they said.
They were setting up the match with the Wolves.
Yeah, they fight the Wolves. They basically, said the deities will prove they're the greatest tag team of all time.
TNA's running out of tag teams at this point. They're splitting them all up.
I know. So then here comes EC3, and they replay the EC3 Eddie schmoz with EC3 having a legitimate gripe with Eddie.
And here comes Franklin.
Well, actually, first, EC3 cuts a promo. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna sit down next to the guardrail with you, and all I wanted was a clean title match. All I wanted was that. I didn't get that either time, and both involved Davey Richards. So, and in a nice quote, he says, "It doesn't take WikiLeaks to see the collusion. I'm going to invade the Wolves Nation just like I'm Liam Neeson in The Gray."
Oh boy.
By the way, that's a film about Liam Neeson fighting wolves.
Ah, yes, appropriate.
So here comes Franklin, the Turtle Man.
Turtle Man.
He says, "Hey, I also got screwed over by Davey. So why don't we both do this? And you know what? Why don't we do this last man standing? Because why the fuck not?"
With no build for no reason.
No reason whatsoever. Impromptu last man standing match. And EC3 asks the Owl if this was a good idea. He's like, "Let me ask the Anthem Owl here. Is this a good idea?" And Franklin's like, this seriously? Really? Yes or no?
I don't have time for this.
EC3 says, "Yes, but we'll do this right now." Pull apart brawl. So I thought the match was going to happen later, but nope, this being TNA, last man standing match with no build-up right now.
Yay, logic.
And before that, I got two things to say. First of all, apparently they did a commercial for the one night only that happened last week.
Whoops.
And also, if you were watching this in Canada on the Fight Network, you got screwed because they aired last week's episode.
Whoops.
And they aired this week's episode like at 10 or something.
Oh, Canada.
You're going to keep getting screwed.
By every wrestling company.
Yes. So they didn't even bother with a build for, not even an hour's worth of build for this last man standing match. We're having it right now.
Right freaking now.
And even people in Canada are like, can we get the Pop TV stream? Because Fight Network's showing last week's episode.
Oh, synchronization.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So this kind of turned into, this match happened, and towards the end, it was basically, you get up from this move, you basically unbelievable shit. Like, EC3 takes 2 spears, and neither time he stays down for 10.
You're killing the finish, man.
EC3 and Franklin go through a table, and both men get up before 10. Franklin using help, rolling on the outside to get to his feet.
Yeah.
EC3 hits the steel chairs a bunch of times. Franklin gets up at 9. EC3 goes to sleeper, and Franklin jumps to the side. Not jumps backwards. He jumps sideways into 2 chairs in like two tables in like one of the most awkward looking jumps ever. And
it's not a good last man standing match.
No, it was not. They did tried the Rocky II thing, although Franklin was able to get up using the table for leverage, and EC3 could not get to the guardrail for leverage in time, so Franklin beat the count and won the match.
Yay. Franklin gets another title shot.
Yeah, he gets another title shot and is like, is this going to be the next world champion? And meanwhile, Franklin
sits on the ramp crying.
And they talked about Franklin, and well, EC3 wasn't really crying; he was just pissed. And we see Franklin breathing for air in the corner, and they're, will this be the next world champion? I'm like, I hope not. Look the way he's looking. He doesn't look like a world champion. He's gassed. So backstage, we see a man putting on some rings, and tonight's main event will be the Broken Hardys versus the Wolves. Again, no hype. Seriously.
Well, apparently they did a segment after the one night only, which I did see, and set up this match, which you think they would actually put on the pay-per-view.
Also, you technically would believe that they would book this match and not have this be the first match of the Wolves returning as a team. Well, because, they've been gone for a while. You might want to get to the back of the line unless they use that rematch clause that they had for last year.
Well, how many teams does TNA have at this point? They're basically,
I don't know.
Going by the spoilers, they're seemingly breaking up everybody.
Yeah, so next week is a race for the case.
Feast or Fire and Redo.
Open Fight Night returns to decide Open Fight Night. Yeah, no more fired. Every case has something in it. Something.
We gotta keep as many people on the roster as we can.
Then we see backstage people lighting up the backstage interviewer, getting her put source. And Eli Drake and Tyrus come in, and Eli Drake trashes shit and grabs a random guy and says, read this. And basically, the message he's forced to read is that Eli Drake has decided that because he is getting over on this is booking also considering that, we're going to have him no longer speak. He's no longer going to speak. The one thing that got him over, and blaming it on the fans, didn't appreciate him, so he's taking his voice away from them. He's not sorry, the fans did it himself, and he beats down the hapless stagehand while Tyrus watches like, dude!
Lawsuits!
Yeah. And the security, meanwhile, they're there to break up EC3 and Franklin from earlier, but when their backstage people are getting their asses beat, assaulted, nowhere to be seen.
We did our job for the night.
Yeah, we gotta go. We're gonna take it, so then, oh boy, Rockstar Spud shows up.
Didn't he quit last week?
Quitting thing. Not even a week, and he's back. I didn't know his name was John fucking Cena. And he's he's got a suit on. A postman. I think it's a postman suit or whatever. Chauffeur suit. It's really gaudy and stuff. And then Aaron Rex introduces Aaron Rex to new music. whose name should be sang, not spoken, Aaron Rex.
Oh, boy.
He's like, I've realized something while I was wrestling. You people didn't pay to see me wrestle. You just paid to see me.
Sorry, Aaron, that did not happen.
So, Aaron Rex is doing a Liberace gimmick, as Pope would nice to believe. And Aaron Rex is acting feminine. He's got he's got a lisp, a feminine lisp.
He's doing exotic Adrian Street?
Yeah. Fabulous! And he is wearing lipstick and has stuff powdered on his cheeks. At this point, as he is speaking, I am like, help me!
We need a cornet face for that gimmick.
It gets worse.
Oh, no. Robbie E.
shows up to be the voice of reason. And at this point, I have to show a cat in the tree and with a shirt on there to say help. Because he's got to be the voice of reason. And he even mocks Spud, saying, didn't you recently quit? And Spud on Twitter basically is the kayfabe and everyone said, I didn't quit. I never quit.
Didn't you lose to a baby? Didn't you lose to a midget? Didn't you quit?
Yeah. So, said, Aaron, despite this being a new era of Impact, you're still the same old jackass.
Oh, God, that's your best insult, huh?
So, Aaron Rex, Robbie E comes in. Spud actually tries to go for a punch, but Robbie E punches back. Soon it becomes a 2-on-1 assault, and you start to notice Aaron Rex, without the robe, has a flesh-colored trunks.
Yay.
Flesh-colored tights, if you will.
Tremendous.
To see whatever it is he's hiding down there. And I didn't
want to see that to begin with.
And at some point, Spud holds Robbie E. and Aaron Rex. This time they're not even hiding the fact that he's got rings on his hand. He punches him with it, knocks him out. And Aaron Rex basically says, violence is never the answer. So yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes. So yes, you won't pay to see wrestlers.
You pay to see
people. You pay to see entertainers. People in the ring. People just stand there doing nothing, just talking. So we go backstage. DCC has gotten rid of the fucking voice box. Thank God. James Storm laughs about some stuff, and Bram talks about what Decay did to him.
I think I forgot that you left me for dead in the trunk of a car in the middle of nowhere.
I'm going to join DCC to get some bloody revenge. And I'm like, they actually remembered that Bram has issues with Decay. And Kingston says he has memories of too many people telling him he's too violent for this business. So when Storm called, he knew he had to take it. And Storm says that's why they're a team, because people may have told them they didn't talk right or didn't look right, but they're just going to take it, whatever it is. Yeah. And Storm calls them the Death Crew Council. Not the Death Count Council, the Death Crew Council. Alrighty, which I don't think that is what they are. I think they're still the Death Count Council, but oh well. Allie is backstage on her phone, and Maria asked her, what are you doing? I'm watching a video Brex sent me. You should be standing at attention when I am here, and I gave you lists things too. And I was like, I already finished them. They're like, you're on a rest. This whole thing with you and Braxton, I'm going to end it. In fact, my husband is going to end this. It said, you take my fur. And Allie's like, I'm a vegan. And she's like, I know you are.
Puts you don't eat the fur, you dummy.
Yeah. No.
You wear it.
Well, vegans don't like to wear stuff too, so.
Oh, God.
They don't like. Vegans are different from vegetarians. They're
veterinarians.
Vegetarians. Yes, because vegetarians don't eat meat. Vegans don't want anything to do with anything that comes from animals at all. which is a lot. So they don't have milk, because that comes from cows. So no dairy products, no meat, so basically fruits and veggies.
Yay.
And maybe some bread.
Carbs!
So, anyway, next match is Decay versus DCC, Abyss and Steve of Decay versus Bram and Kingston of DCC. And you notice that Storm's mask now has spikes on it.
Huh.
On the forehead. So, that's, I guess, the difference. And basically, this does not last long.
Nope.
This basically becomes a double countout.
Continue the feud.
And Storm basically breaks a freaking water bottle.
Because he can't do the beer bottle anymore.
No. They still can do the bottles at times. It's just that he found a water bottle and he freaking slammed that thing on Abyss. Holy crap. The thing burst. He hit him so hard with it. So, two of them beat up Abyss backstage, and then Steve gets one up on Kingston before they go to the back, and basically that's all this ends with.
Next.
Eddie and Davey are talking backstage about their title shot, and Davey apologizes for acting like a hothead, getting involved. So, by the way, before the commercial break, Josh admits that a 3-time knockout champion is returning. And I was like, you might not have wanted to tell us this and make it a surprise, but they don't make it a surprise at all, because it's an interview segment with Brooke. It said, if you know, Brooke returning to the ring being a surprise return to the ring. No, she had an interview segment where next week is going to be her match. She mentions that she went away to have a baby, but she misses the rest of the business and she's back full time. And her focus is to win the Knockouts title. So then we go to Maria and the Miracle versus
in the Temple of Worship.
Sutter. Yeah. Bennett versus Sutter. And this match is boring. I think the alcohol was more interesting than this match.
The problem is that, Braxton is okay, but it's just a bad storyline.
They're both two vanilla guys who have really not much personality other than their one-dimensional character.
They're women.
And both of them are really only here because they're wives.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just a match that happened. At some point, Miracle hits the Miracle. Braxton gets ahead. Maria grabs Sutter's leg to distract him. Miracle hits a Miracle in Progress. Maria says, don't finish him. Hit him with a pile driver, which she does. Maria jumps on the apron and calls Miracle. She kisses him, shouts him, do it again. Allie shows up to stop him, but Maria holds her and forces her to watch, and Sutter reverses into a jackknife cover for the 3. Reverses a pile driver to a jackknife cover for 3.
Yep. So
Maria is livid in the ring as Allie and Braxton Sutter are celebrating. Backstage, after the match, the Bennetts are angry. Miracle's like, 2017 is not going their way because of Allie. It's like, you do own her. And Allie, she's your princess. And Maria's like, I know. And I've got an idea.
Oh, God.
And you're going to enjoy it. And he's like, well, what is it? And in a funny moment, she goes the wrong way and then goes the opposite way. She missed
Which way do I go?
Missed the wrong exit. Exit stage left or stage right. You gotta exit stage right in this one.
Snaggletooth?
Yeah. So, Rosemary comes out, and this is probably also one of the best moment on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Rosemary shows up. She says, and the Decay theme actually works better for her than it does her tag team. Rosemary chants. She basically talks about how the Knockouts division is going to feel darkness, take darkness, and decay.
Jade
shows up and says, hey, I'm still here. Because she did say, yeah, Gail and were just 2 victims. Gail and Jade were just the first to decay. And so decay will spread, yeah. Basically, she says, you wouldn't be champion without your mist, so I'm not leaving here until I get my rematch.
Okay.
He's like, okay, I'm glad you are not done yet. I'm glad I wanted this to, so she's like, just one thing, if you get your rematch, accept my invitation to a Monsters Ball.
And Jade
fans are happy about this for the first time in years to have a Monsters Ball match.
But there's not Abyss in it.
No, and Jade says, Rosemary is a sick and twisted individual, and so is she, but she's never showed it, and Rosemary will find it out at Monsters Ball. What is she? You demon, prepare for war, you demon bitch.
Yeah.
Rosemary attacks. They both fight. Sets up the Pax pile driver, but Rosemary escapes and bails. Jade gets the advantage. Yeah, it sets up. Yeah, so yeah, Rosemary had to bail. The end. So with that out of the way, it's main event time. And Josh, you should notice that hashtag Impact on Pop is trending. It was trending.
Yep.
So this match, for like most part, was stuck in first gear, and because Eddie was basically getting beaten up. But there was a good point that Davey comes in hot and basically sets up a figure four and ankle lock at the same time.
How do you do that?
Well, because one is in the figure four and the other trips, and he just needs to use his arms for the ankle lock.
Right.
And both parties have to go for the ropes. It's actually a really nice spot. And basically, again, Eddie twists the fade and Swanton from the Hardys, but Eddie makes the save. They do one of their finishers, but then they're about to do a second one, but Eddie gets held up by Matt and decides to dive onto the outside, and Davey's getting ready to do the finish, and he's like, where the hell are you? And like yells at him. And so this allows Brother Nero to roll him up and get the victory. It's a good match, but they've had better. Way better.
Much better.
So Davey's pissed. And that's how we end the show, as both teams are looking at each other, and we just immediately cut to the Anthem logo showing.
Oh boy.
This gets a D.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not a good show. Again, in some ways, at least they had one thing that wasn't boring of last week, but in another way, you had the Aaron Rex thing, which was horrid. There's just nothing you can do to save that.
Nothing.
It just comes off as a dude who wants to be Dalton Castle and the Genius combined, and you're not subtle enough to pull either of them off. And on that note, do you have anything to sell?
Not this week.
Next week, this is the end of the Monster Crap induction. I mean, not the induction. The Gene Award voting will be over on Saturday, and right now it looks like there's a movie with a 5-vote lead, and 2 movies behind it just have 4 votes, while one has 9. It looks to be Ghostbusters right now.
Who are you gonna call?
Not these Ghostbusters.
And on that note, I think we are signing off for the evening.
So also, at some point, maybe this next weekend, I will be doing my best of the year and worst of the year of films I've seen.